Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today you can see that I'm in a little bit of a different setup. I had to rent an office location because I'm on the road and I'm traveling a little bit, so I needed a quiet place to be able to shoot this. And this is actually something that I'm going to be talking about a little bit later in the video today. So I have been on YouTube for 6 years, and I have less than 1,000 subscribers. I'm here to share with you today all of the lessons and all of the mistakes that I have learned along the way so that you don't make them in your journey, whether it is being on social media, on YouTube, or in any other aspect of business. I think that a lot of these things that I talk about today are very applicable in all different kinds of scenarios. So first off, the reason why I'm actually calling out 1,000 subs is because everyone who wants to be monetized on YouTube knows that that is one of the criteria to be able to go ahead and do that. You need a minimum of 1,000 subscribers as well as 4,000 watch hours. We're not even going to tackle the watch hours because I'm so far off at this point, but the 1,000 subs I feel like is the easiest part of the criteria to be able to hit, and I'm still not there. So let's talk about why. Mistake number one. My problem is I just wanted to create just to create. I didn't necessarily have a plan in place and I didn't have a goal other than I just wanted to make videos when I felt like it. So everything was very much contingent upon if I felt like it. So it was an ebb and flow with my emotions, with my feelings, and that is what determined when I would create or not. Which brings me to lesson one. Always have an intention. When something is so ebb and flow like that, you don't actually then have the control of where you want to see something through. But when you set an intention, when you set an objective or a purpose with whatever it is you're trying to create, that gives you clarity, it gives you focus, and when you have focus, you have direction. And when you have direction, you have a higher chance of achieving the outcome that you desire. Mistake number two, I wasn't honest with my why. I was so stuck in this mode of I just wanted to create. I want it to be fun. This is something that I'm doing just for fun. But the truth of the matter is that I've always wanted to actually create a community on YouTube, but I just never fully owned that. And when you don't fully own something, you're not actually able to fully show up for yourself and for others. For me, I always had this guise of because it was just for fun, it allowed me to actually give myself excuses. Well, if it was just for fun and it was just when I felt like creating, then I didn't have to create anything for that week. But when you are honest with yourself, which is the next lesson, you are able to then fully show up for yourself. You're able to show up with consistency. For me, in building a community on YouTube, in order to actually build a community, you need to actually show up. So if you don't full-heartedly go after something that you really want, you may find yourself years later still in this sort of dream phase because you never fully went all in. The next mistake is that I am a recovering perfectionist. Maybe some of you can relate to this, but this is a lesson that I've learned along the way working at startups, working in very fast-paced environments. That in business, you need to ship out your product as quickly as possible with the minimum viable product. From there, you're able to then iterate, evolve, to grow, and fine-tune and make the product better. So taking this YouTube channel, for example, in the beginning, I was so stuck on the perfect thumbnail, the perfect colors, the perfect lighting, the perfect editing, and it really just slowed my process down and it became a lot less enjoyable in the process. So not only was I not having fun, I was creating a lot of headache and a lot of extra noise that I needed to be thinking about. But the lesson here is focus on improving over time. What do people say? Progress over perfection. So take this office, for example. Is this the perfect setup? No, it's not. It doesn't have great lighting. The background isn't all that interesting. But the point here is that I'm able to learn how to be nimble. I'm able to learn how to shoot when I'm not in my home environment. And I'm able to learn how to be more resourceful with the resources that I have in the moment. Another example of this would be that I don't have the most professional camera, and for the first few weeks of shooting content, I actually borrowed a friend's camera. Shout out to Janu for letting me do that. So what's most important is not necessarily the perfection of what you create. The most important thing is showing up for yourself consistently and also trying to improve and iterate along the way. In the past 5 weeks or so that I've been creating some videos on here, I have learned so much. I've learned how to animate a little bit better. I've learned different settings for audio inputs thanks to some feedback that I got from one of you. I've been playing around with different thumbnails, with the SEO and the title of a lot of my content. So I'm learning along the way. And a lot of these lessons, I didn't actually even know that I needed to learn for myself. So the only way that you're able to really even know what you need to improve on is by actually putting things out there on a consistent basis. The next mistake is that I really viewed this as a hobby and not a business. I was a hobbyist when it came to social media, and I wasn't necessarily owning this as a business channel. And this goes back to kind of how I got my start. So I was someone who was more so just wanting a creative outlet and something to be able to express myself, and that took the shape of creating social media content several years ago on Instagram. But somewhere along the way, brand deals started coming, different business opportunities started coming, and I was leaning very heavily on partnerships, and it became a six-figure income for myself. And so my relationship with social media and content changed. It shifted from being purely creative, purely this self-expression outlet, to actually becoming a business and becoming the income that I relied on. So if you are someone who has the intention of creating a business or having your social media channels be a funnel for something that you are building, go into it with that. And the lesson here is think like a business owner. You have to then start thinking about what your overall objective is, what your goals are, and the plans that you need to put into place to actually achieve and reach those goals. And the last mistake that I want to share is I gave up. Can you imagine that if 6 years ago when I put out my first video, I consistently put out videos every single week, I would have, let's do the math, I would have over 300 videos that are on here. And I know that within those 300 times, I would have definitely learned a whole lot, and I likely would have over 1,000 subscribers. So definitely give yourself a chance to be able to improve over time. Be patient with yourself. A lot of times when we see these creators or see these business owners achieve these massive results, that was not something that happened overnight. And I think we all know this, but sometimes it's nice to hear that reminder that these were successes that have been achieved throughout the course of weeks, months, years. And I think because we live in such a instant gratification type of society, always thinking about likes and followers and getting that extra dopamine hit, it can be really hard to remember that that's not actually the goal. The goal is not to get the most likes. The goal is not to get the most subscribers, even though I'm talking about 1,000 subscribers. The goal is to really practice consistency. The goal is to have an improvement-oriented mindset. And when you do that, and when you show up for yourself, and when you come to the table wanting to grow from the inside and grow in your skills and grow in other intangible ways, that's when you'll actually start to see the results that you desire. So I hope that this video helped. I would love to know if you are trying to create something for yourself, if you're trying to be on social media or create a business or a product of some kind. Please let me know in the comments below. I'm so curious to know what lights you up and what you're excited about in working on.